Good afternoon, guys. Welcome back into my channel. So in this lab, we're going to configure together the HSRP. Now, you may wonder, what is HSRP? What is HSRP? So HSRP stands for Hot Standby Router Protocol. So what is HSRP meant in the networking? So the hot standby router protocol HSRP is a redundancy routing protocol that establishes default fault tolerance and a framework for primary network gateway failover. So HSRP is designed for multi-access or broadcast local area network LAN and support non-disruptive internet protocol traffic inaccessibility. Now, in computer networking, the hot standby router protocol is a Cisco proprietary redundancy protocol for establish a fault tolerance default gateway version 1, and the protocol was described in RFC 2281 in 1998. Now, HSRP background and operation. One way to achieve near 100% network uptime is to use HSRP, which provides network redundancy for IP networks and ensure that use traffic immediately, transparently recover from first hop failure in network edge devices or access circuits. When two or more routers share an IP address and a MAC layer 2 addresses, they can act as a single virtual router. The members of the virtual router group continually exchange status messages. This way, one router can assume the routing responsibility of another if one is out of commission for either planned or unplanned reason. Hosts continue to forward IP packets to a consistent IP and MAC addresses, and the changeover of devices that do the routing is transparent. Now, guys, this is just a brief overview of HSRP. So the operation, a large class of legacy as implementation that does not support dynamic discovery can configure a default router. To run the dynamic, then just um, watch what's the lab objective, says in packet tracer, activity, then to configure hot standby router protocol, HSIP to provide redundancy. So that's what we just repeat. So we're gonna configure the HSIP active router, configure the HSRP standby router, and verify the HSRP operation. So that's basically what we would do. Let's go ahead and pull up packet tracer and start doing this. Now, let's do now, guys. So let's just verify the connectivity. So we're gonna use tracer from this, to the server to PCA. Tracer, PCA to command go ahead and make this still ping. Oh, trace it. I mean, trace it 49.165.200.226. Check this. Now the trace set, so which device are on the path from PCA to the web server? So you can see the addressing table. It's showing that it's router 1 and 2 on the INET. So you can see it's the router 1 and 2 on the INET, right? Okay. So now, on step 2, we could trace the path to the web server from PCB. To trace it, and it's 209.165.200.226. Right? So if you wait, all right, so now you can see that if you were to ask like which device or both, I mean on both paths from PCB to the server, the answer will be router 3 and router 2 on the INET. So it will be router 2 and 3 on the INET. 2 and 3. Now, let's observe the network behavior on router 3 when unavailable. Delete, HSRP, link from router 2 to router 3. So if we were to delete this, if we were to delete this, let's delete this. Connected. So guys, if you were to delete these, you and hang it again, you would check to see the behavior of this trace set as we did. So if we click on switch 3 and select the port gigabit 1, so now we're going to configure the HSRP active and standby on the router. Let's go ahead and port router 1 and make this, go ahead and make this bigger. Enable mode, conf T, let's do interface, gig 0/1. Now, to specify the HSRP protocol version number, the most recent version is version 2. So note that standby version 1 only support IPv4 addressing. So let's do standby version 2. So standby version 2, right? Now, configure the IP address to the virtual default gateway. This address must be configured on any host that require the service of the default gateway. It replaces the physical interface address of the router that has been previously configured on the host. Multiple instances of HSRP can be configured on a router. You must specify the HSRP group number to identify the virtual interface between routers in a HSRP group. This number must be consistent between the routers in the group. The group number for this configuration is 1. Now let's go ahead and give it an IP address. So let's say standby 1 priority. Sorry. Say standby 1 IP 192.168.1.254. Okay. Now, designated the active router to the HSRP group. It is the router that will be used as the gateway device unless it fails or the path to it becomes inactive or unstable or unusable, I would say. Specify the priority of the router interface. The default value is 100. A high value will determine which router is the active router. If the priority of the router in the HSRP group are the same, then the router will be with the highest configured IP address will become the router, the active router. So let's do standby 1 priority 150. Now, router will operate as the active router and traffic from the two lanes will use it as the default gateway. If it is desirable for the active router resume that role when it becomes available again, configure it to preemptive the service of the standby router so the active router will take over the gateway role when it's become operate again. So what we do, let's do up power, let's do standby 1 and preamp, preamp. So that will, so what will the HSRP priority of router 3 be when it is added to the HSRP group? Well, 100, which is the default value. Now, on step 2, we're going to configure the HSRP on router 3. Configure it, router 3 as a standby. Configure router 3. It's connected to the LAN. And repeat on the steps. So let's go ahead and try that for router 3. Okay. Go ahead. Switch standby. Oh. Interface gig 01. Let's stay standby version 2. Okay, so HSRP being configured on water 3. So configure standby water, then configure water 3 first. Connected to land. Okay, so now we could verify HSRP configuration. So the way to do that is to do, since we already here, remove this to show standby. To show standby. Let's go ahead and try that on water 1 instead. Okay, so you could see that the state is active, right? The state is active, and and 4 state change. Now we have 6 states change, right? Now, using the out, now which router is the active router? So we haven't finished with the configuration on this router yet. Router 3. Gotta do. Standby. So we gotta do this. Then we do that. No. So after doing this, we gotta do standby 1 IP 192.168.1.254. Right? Okay. Now if we do say show standby. Okay. So we have that the state is peak. Says state change active. So it should be active. Let's see. So the state should be active. And the standby is about 8. So far we good. So what is the MAC address of the virtual IP address? Well, the MAC address of the virtual IP address should be 0.0.0.0C9F.F001. Now, what will be the IP address of the priority of the standby router? So it will be 192.168.1.3, and the priority is 100. So let's say if you do show Standby BR. Crucial standby. So you see we have this IP. So the virtual IP address is this. Now let's try this to standby BR. The virtual IP address is that. Now, if we change the gateway address from PCA and PCC on switch 1 and 3, which address we should use? We should use then 192.168.1.254. Now, if we observe the HSRP operation from PCB, fast Ethernet, the default gateway. By 4. No, not PC. Oh, mistake. Should be 1. Now, now 103. Now on the switch 1, we should do enable conf t IP default gateway 192.168.1.254. Right? And then do that for PC3, switch 3. Default gateway 2.168.1.254. Okay. So if we change the gateway on PCA to PC 254 and PCB PCB 254. So if we execute the trace route from the web server, you may, let's try it. One up. Now you see the path is from router one. So you see the path here, guys, is from here to here to here to there. Right? Now let's try this from there. Still command. Oh, oh, next up. Okay. Command pump. Let's see. Now you see we have a different path. So guys, pretty much this is how you configure HSRP. Stay tuned for another lab video on how to configure HSRP. Thank you so very much. Appreciate you guys.